I am pleased to talk about Asurion Gulch Hub project. I thought that project really fit into the context in a thoughtful, connected way. It was a complicated site. And not only was the massing of the project really well handled in that location as far as fitting in that context, when they could have approached it in many, many different ways. I thought that the way that they connected both below, I mean the many levels with the rail nearby, the greenway that was there, as well as the public that was entering on the bridge, essentially bridge level, was a complicated site, and they were masterful in the way that they approached that.
I love their decision to sort of take the skyscraper tower and turn it sideways. That to me was just such an impactful decision. I think that way of collaborating across the floor plate is just so much more impactful, and the way they combined it with the bridges and the outdoor terraces I thought was just a neat little project.
Their public space, you know, how they were thoughtful about where security was, you know, trying to create a more inviting, welcoming space for the public, and there worked.
I was surprised by how warm the building felt. There were so many thoughtful things that made it feel human scale and approachable. I loved the green wall as you came in. It was such a statement of values, but it also, you know, fit the space and just related to human scale so well, I thought. And then throughout the building, just the lighting, the way they did the art, the passageways, everything felt human scale.
The Asurion Gulch Hub is a 567,000 square foot. It's a single tenant building built in downtown Nashville, in between kind of the two bridges, in between Church Street and Broadway. And those of you that know Nashville know that those are both elevated, you know, elevated bridges. And so the project's a really challenging project because you have a 11th Avenue Main Street elevation, and then you also have this Church Street connection. The ultimate vision behind Asurion Gulch Hub was kind of this more vertical campus, right? And it's both vertical and horizontal, right? So urban being, you know, vertical, but horizontal being these two buildings. So these two buildings are relatively low rise for Nashville downtown. One's 9 stories, one's 8 stories. But they're connected by a series of bridges and terraces. So regardless of the floor you're on, and you know, it accommodates up to 2,000 people or a little more than that. And so regardless of which floor you're on, you're never more than, you know, a few steps away from a stair to a bridge to the other building. And there are opportunities for you to rest, for you to meet, for you to play, you know, throughout the building, on the podium of the garage, on the 3rd floor, above the main lobby, and on the roof. All of those are outdoor spaces that are for the Asurion employees. You know, the overall interior design concept and the site design concept was really around making the space welcoming, and about, you know, Asurion talks about being helpful, about actually being helpful. And it's about helpful in technology and their business, but it's also about being a, you know, a warm, welcoming place for their employees. The Greenway was a huge part of the project, and so we extended the Greenway. So it was a small section of Greenway before. We over doubled the length of Greenway because we moved it to the rail, which was terrific. So instead of the Greenway going through a parking lot, the Greenway now is along the rail.
And this is the type of building that makes me want to come into the office. It's welcoming, it's amenitized. If there were a lot of collaborative spaces, dining is on site. It's the type of building that I look forward to coming in to work, which I think in this environment of sort of the post-COVID return to office is so important to have.